1 minute to post time, approaching the gate. They enter at the post. Now they're moving into the gate. Open running.
Hello, Billy Ho here, coming at you with a post-draw analysis. Post positions were drawn for the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby. And so I am Billy Ho. Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. I am born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. I live just a few miles away from Churchill Downs. So I've grown up around racehorses all my life, and been placing my own bets at the window at Churchill Downs since I was probably in sixth grade. My dad used to know one or two or half a dozen different tellers that didn't mind a little kid coming up with his dad and placing his own bets. And I really felt like such a big shot doing that. It was really great, you know, being a sixth grader, going up there and knowing my dad always taught me proper etiquette at the window. You have your money in your hand and you have your bets ready to place. Anybody that stands in front of you at Churchill Downs and doesn't know what they're doing needs to be thrown out of the line, because especially in Oaks and Derby, those lines can get mighty long, and people that go up and bet multiple races better be there as soon as the window opens for the race, standing there ready to make multiple race bets. And you don't bet the whole damn race card when you're up there. Bet 3 or 4 races and get in and get out. Public service announcement. All right, on to the post position draws. They have been done yesterday, so we can begin to build a pool of horses. And we're going to try to narrow things down eventually by the end of the week to probably 6 to 8 horses. It depends on your betting strategy. And actually, stick around because I got some information about that later on in the show. So my last video, we reviewed the 5 top prep races and the stretch runs of those prep races. Today's going to be a little bit different. We're going to just probably show them in passing those same stretch runs, but we're also going to have the break from the gate in each of these races, and I'm going to kind of analyze the way the horses broke, because that's very important in the Kentucky Derby to get a clean break, and especially with 20 horses, try not to get banged around too much. And the front runners need to get out quick, and the stalkers need to get out evenly, and everybody needs to get in position. That's priority number 1 without getting banged around too bad. So we're going to look into that. And so actually, I appreciate everybody joining me. Subscribers, keep it coming. Comments, keep that coming. The more the merrier. I really love the interaction of the handicapping and horse racing crowd on YouTube. People are very passionate about what they believe, almost more passionate than people they feel about horses. So let's go ahead and ask you to smash or click subscribe, smash the like. Isn't that how it goes? I don't know. You could do either way, but I really need you to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave some comments, tell some friends, and let's go. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start you here before we get into the races. This is the pre-draw top 10, and I'll run it down for you real quick. It's Tapit Trice, number 1, Forte, number 2, Angel of Empire, number 3, number 4, King's Barnes, number 5, Derma Sodogake, number 6, Mage, number 7, Verifying, number 8, Practical Move, number 9, Skinner, and number 10 was Disarm. And I believe there was some people that complained that their horses weren't in my top 10. It's my top 10. I mean, it's not like it's some famous handicapper is poking them out there. So if you like Hit Show, then that's fine. But we're going to get into these post position draws, and you're probably not happy with where Hit Show landed. So anyway, okay, right into the Florida Derby. So we now seen the stretch runs from Mage and Forte, which was a really great battle. Mage tried to get the jump, and Forte ran him down. But look how they broke from the gate. As you can see, the 4-horse Mage breaks kind of poorly, in my opinion, falls out to last, was bumped wide into the first turn. So when you see that, it seems like he handled that adversity quite well because, and that's what we want to see out of a inexperienced horse. Obviously, Mage is one of the couple of horses here, unraced as a 2-year-old, and that was only his third career start. So I thought it was interesting that he handled all that, and the rider had him in perfect position coming home for the Derby. I believe Luis Saez is the jock, and I do believe that Luis Saez is going to stick around after the Derby and ride the entire Churchill Downs meet, which is great. I love Luis Saez. It's always great to get the best of the best jockeys at Churchill Downs for the spring meet. And also, just real quick, before we get to Forte, since there is a chance Cyclone Mischief gets in the race, I kind of took a look at his as well. The number 9 horse breaking out of there. He had a clean break and he moved mid pack easily, right where he's supposed to go, and didn't run it too bad of a race. But he's not really going to make this list and probably not my betting pool. But Forte obviously broke from the outside, number 11. He broke fine. He did have a little bit of traffic around the first turn. But I keep coming back to this race because the Florida Derby is over the last decade, maybe the premier prep race. So both Forte and Mage are going to be high on my list. Now, next up was the Bluegrass. Very important to look at this particular break, as there are concerns for the winner, Tappet Trice, the big gray closer, stone closer, if you want to call it that. But he's a deep closer. Anyway, so he was off slow per his usual style. He's so big, it almost looks like a freight train where it takes him a while to get up to speed. But once he hits top speed, he's like Derrick Henry. He's the Derrick Henry of horses. You heard it here first, everybody. He's Derrick Henry. He gets out into the open field and he can run 25 miles an hour for a touchdown. But no, actually, seriously, on this break, you can see it takes him a bit to get going, but he jerks his head around when the 4-horse comes up on him, and he loses some ground there. He gets a little bit out of sorts, and the jock, Luis Saez, does a good job getting him reset and going again. And they say he doesn't like dirt kicked in his face. I don't know that it was dirt kicked in his face. He just maybe caught him out of his blind side or something, and kind of surprised him because he just kind of jerked his head around and he looked out of sorts for a second, but got it going again. And obviously, Louis got him forwardly placed as he noticed that the pace was a bit on the slow side. So I kind of like the post position 5, even though it seems like more of the winners are coming from the outside in recent years, but post position 5 has won more than enough races. And then you got horses like Hit Show verifying, Two Phil's Confidence Game on the inside. So those horses are going to want to run by him. So if he breaks slow, he could just slide in right behind all those and be right on the rail. Hopefully he doesn't get completely boxed in. Then you got Kings, Barnes, and Reincarnate on the outside of him that are going to be running by, and that might be a problem for him. I don't really know, but I'm okay with his post position, so that didn't affect me whatsoever. Looking back, verifying broke very well and went right to the front. He is in a bad spot inside the 2 post. If he breaks well, though, I mean, he might be able to get clear because, he is one that will try to press for the lead. So other than that, Sun Thunder and Raised Cane are deep closers, and they broke as expected, got over and did their thing as well. Now, next up, Santa Anita and the 5-horse Practical Move. Didn't have a real clean break, but it wasn't that bad. He moved right into the inside spot, 5th. And he's a stalking type of racer, so he was in perfect position, saving ground on the inside, biding his time, and took the race over and won it like we've seen 100 times. The number 7 horse Skinner was bumped pretty well out of the gate, in my opinion, and he settled back to employ his closing style. Still not sold on Practical Move to get the distance yet and a clean trip. But I am starting to lean a little bit more to Skinner to use in exotics. He's got really good late pace figures, like he's up there with the Fortes uh, and Kings Barnes and whatnot for that late pace rally. So he's looking pretty good to maybe make some bottoms of trifectas and things of that nature. All right. So next up we have Arkansas Derby. Now, this is obviously the race that put Angel of Empire like on the map as everybody's. I don't know if you want to call him the wise guy horse, because usually the wise guy horse comes around late in the week, but he's already kind of vaulted his way, and he's the third choice in the morning line behind Forte and Tappet. Uh, could be moving up higher, but anyway, they all broke well. Angel of Empire, Rocket Can, the 7 horse in this race, and the 8 Reincarnate. The numbers that I'm mentioning in the beginning are the numbers of the horses in the prep race that we're talking about. It's not the post. It's not the post position for the Derby. Obviously, Angel of Empire is not the 6 horse. So what we're looking at is let's see. They all fell into the right spots where they wanted. Reincarnate had every opportunity to win the race. And actually, the incredible Johnny V, veteran, 51 years old, won plenty of derbies, was shaking him up down the stretch. But after Angel of Empire made his move, there was no match. So maybe Reincarnate might be better suited for the Preakness, possibly. Sometimes these horses that just get on the lead there and then just don't have quite enough to get there at the end, they dial it back in distance, and coming back after a rest possibly could move forward. Rocket Can went flat down the stretch and is total toss, in my opinion. Angel of Empire solidified himself as a top 3 choice, obviously on the tote board at 8-1. I doubt he goes off there because he's getting a ton of buzz. I think more like 9-2 is probably where he's going to land, or maybe even closer. Who knows? So next up, Louisiana Derby. And I'm going in order. And the 4 horse in the Louisiana Derby was Sun Thunder, who I already mentioned and is a long shot closer. I do kind of find it interesting, and I just noticed this, and I don't know if anybody's talking about it, that Kenny McPeak ran him back off 2 weeks rest from the Louisiana Derby to the Bluegrass Stakes. So I don't know if it may be something that he's trying to shake up the training schedule and maybe get a little bit more fitness into Sun Thunder for a close. I don't know. I'm not going to, Sun Thunder's not a top 10 pick for me right now, but I'm not going to completely dismiss him altogether. I just want to try to find out more about the reasoning behind going off 2 weeks rest right there from one prep to the next. So anyway, Disarm was the 5 horse in this race. He had some early traffic to overcome, and he did so pretty nicely. And he ran a pretty good race against Kings Barn. The Kings Barns broke beautifully, went right to the lead, which Flavian Pratt recognized as a slower pace. So he was able to sit on this lead the whole way. So the stalking style was not deployed. He's done nothing but win all his races. Unraced as a 2-year-old is a knock, but Jose Ortiz picking up the mount is a great jock addition. And he's been there and done that enough. He's a good young guy. So I'm not tossing Kings Barnes. I just might move him down a slice. I think he can hang on for a slice, actually. I think he can be one of those front-running types that actually hold his ground and maybe have gas in the tank to hang on, and he might get clipped. You might see him get a second-place finish here to one of these deep closers. It's just something like that. That's the scenario I'm kind of going over in my head. Number 11 in this race was Jace's Road. He broke well and went right to the lead, but he did seem to burn up a lot of gas in the tank getting there from that outside post. He's a presser at 50-1, and his style doesn't really lead me to believe that he's going to hit the board. So he's probably a toss. So that's all for the prep races. Excuse me one moment. Prep races that I want to cover video wise. Dermisota Gake drew the 17th post. which is bad if you view the 17 post as never won the Kentucky Derby. And very little, it's like 42 starts for the 17, and it's like 1 and 2 or something like that. So it's like only hit the board 3 times in 42 starts, which is odd because the outside horses, 19 and 20 have won. 18 has won it. 16's won it. 15's won it. So they all have multiple. So I don't know what it is about 17. The only thing that I can think of, and this is just pure speculation, was before the implementation about 4 years ago, of the full 20 horse gate, they had an auxiliary gate between post 14 and 15. So they had 14 race gate, 14 horse gate, which they always used for regular racing. And then they had a 15 through 20 auxiliary gate, and it left a gap between 14 and 15. So 17 would have been squeezed in the middle of that secondary gate because you had 15 and 16, and then 18, 19, and 20 on the outside. So it was just, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But Sotogake still in the top 10, just a slight downgrade because I feel like he's going to have to motor out of the gate to get to the lead if that's what they choose to do with him, because he just seems like a speed, like he just laid it on the line, went all out in the UAE Derby. So I don't know if that's going to be the same game plan or not. Obviously, okay, the 4 horse gate 4 confidence game was benched after the grade 2 Rebel in February and has been training up to this by the Keith DeSormo. But coming off of 60 plus days, layoff is enough for a toss in my book. So he's out. As I said in the beginning of the video, most of the horses I didn't like landed in bad post positions. So Hit Show may have been a thought, but drawing the dreaded number 1 post ends that for me. I was down on those New York preppers anyway, and he was not in my pre-draw top 10. Lord Miles, out of that same race, landed the number 19 hole, which is not bad for a closer like him, but I don't like the jockey trainer combo, Paco Lopez and Joseph, Safi Joseph, not on the top of my list. Also hard to reproduce a long shot race like he did at 49-1, because he's going to be 50 plus to 1 in this race. So I doubt it. Now, Two Phils is an interesting horse to me. And actually, last year's winner, Rich Strike, did come from the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway. I believe he won that race to get in, just like Two Phils did, got them 100 points. But it seemed like such a fluke, that Rich Strike race. Lightning does it strike twice, probably not. So you have to start taking some stands somewhere. Also, the number 3 post does him no favors, in my opinion. So he's likely a toss as well. So Continue lastly is the Japan invite, and the number 20 horse got the number 20. It's almost conspiracy theory, right? He gets the number 20 post, and probably fine for a closer like him, but he's like ranked 10th out of 10 closers, and there's a big gap between 9 and 10, in my opinion. So I'm not too down with Continue. The only Japan horse I'm going to be looking at is Sotogake. So we are going to sum it up right there. The post draw, my top 10 horses are the same, but the order has changed somewhat. So let's take a look at what we got here, right? All right. The top 3 remained the same: Tapit Trice, Forte, Angel of Empire. I moved up Mage to number 4 because I liked his trip in the Florida Derby and the post draw and advanced skills for a lightly raced horse. King's Barn is also still fine, but just got bumped that 1 slot. He did nothing wrong to deserve that, but Mage I thought a little bit more of because of the race he's coming out of. Now, a practical move that I made, get it up the board to number 6 spot, due to that good draw. I like that 10 post, and the fact that he's obviously a solid, good horse, Tim Yak team trained. So he is the top horse out of California, and the Santa Anita, California, have produced their share of Derby winners. So I moved him up a little bit. I'm still like I said, Dermisota Gake bumped down to 7th spot, post position, and him having to blast out of the gate for the lead if that's what they do. Jumped up Skinner to number 8 because of the good draw, and because the 9th ranked Verifying got a bad draw. The number 2 post is a tough ask for a front running type. And Disarm stays at number 10 and not completely out of the running for exotic tickets. So that's going to do it for the show today. Remember, subscribe and like, leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Later on, or the next video I'm going to do is betting strategy. We're going to start getting into what are we going to do with exactas? What are we going to do with trifectas? Do we bet? Strategy is like jockeys, trainers, betting angles, post positions, any kind of angle for the Kentucky Derby we're looking at, and start to lay out a strategy, maybe get a bankroll together and see what kind of bets we can make with a particular dollar amount. Sounds pretty good to me. And later in the week, we're going to have a final analysis show where, we leading up to the Derby. Anything can happen. The horses get fevers. Shit happens, by Friday, so Thursday, Friday is going to be the final analysis show. So we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for watching.